Kia ora, good morning. I am Corrie Taylor. I'm the founder of KANIKA. This is a trauma release therapy that is done in and through the bones, the breath, and the beliefs. So, KANIKA is all about finding the core pieces, the core trinity. We are made of light, we are made of sound, we are made of love, right? And as we clear these spiritual, mind, and body versions of ourselves all in one process, what we're doing is we're actually unblocking the state of our bones. Now, the bones themselves actually hold a very powerful portal. They are a papyrus or the sacred scrolls of wisdom. Everything that our ancestors have been through, every experience that has ever been had, has been etched into the bone matrix of our bones, all right, our DNA. And within that DNA, as it opens and it creates stem cells and it replicates itself, if there are SNPs, what we are doing with KANIKA is we are clearing the SNPs so that you come back to the original version of you. So this is us clearing conditions, clearing ancestral trauma. Now, the way this happens is that, say if your ancestors have, for any reason, an event where they were crossing a river and something happened, right? And they fell on the other side and they hurt their wrists. The trauma that would have gone through their bones was to know that next time they do that, this would be something to be afraid of, right? This would be a natural aversion to crossing a river, doing it this particular way. Now, your body might not know it, and your mind especially won't know it, right? This is an illogical process, but our bodies hold billions and billions of bits of information. So we actually bring in 11 billion bits of information every second through the body. But in the brain, we're only bringing in about 1,200 bits per second. Okay. So our body is this sensory information that is just constantly figuring out where in the world you are safe. So if there was this experience, right, what can happen is that the bone will compact in that moment. It will impact, it will flinch, but it will also take the breath. Okay. It will. And now the belief is along the lines of, I'm not safe to cross rivers, or I'm not safe to whatever it is. And so we have this ancestral patterning that we might not even understand why we're afraid to do something or take that next step, or we feel stagnant in something. We can't seem to shift or change, and we keep looping in that similar pattern. What's happening is our bones are emitting a frequency, because everything is energy, as you know. And as we bring quantum physics into the bone and we have this discussion, just because bone is the heaviest, densest matter doesn't mean it doesn't have a wave point. All right. So if bone was a wave and it's matter, it's deeper, it's, very dense. But if light has a wave, it's very flowing. Okay. So the denser that wave is, the more you can tangibly touch that version of you. So the bone is the heaviest, densest space on the body, especially the teeth. They're actually stronger than bone. And so if we have had an impact in our ancestral, generational, whether it's spiritual, emotional, mental, or physical, what can happen is it takes that breath, it anchors a belief in that situation, and then from now you are carrying that ancestral wounding or looping or trauma. Right? Even if it's excitement still burns out the adrenals if it goes on for too long. So with KANIKA, KANIKA means the seed of the golden atom. KANIKA is all about reclaiming your power from all past versions of yourself, including your ancestors. And it also means bringing yourself back home from being in the future all of the time. So always desiring something outside of yourself and actually feeling it in the now moment. The golden seed is you being at your absolute purest, most erotic, innocent self, because we all come in our purest state. But as our body grows, we start to recognize and remember these lymphatic connections that have been locked down in our bones. And as this happens, it creates a dis-ease, right? It might not be yours. It might have been yours from this lifetime, but has been talking to your DNA in a particular way. So this is called epigenetics, the conversation with DNA. With KANIKA, we are embracing the bones to give them a pressure point, a space, a po. And as that happens, the bones actually desire to contort around that and unwind themselves. Right? Because when the light plasma is coming onto the planet, when your light body is being activated, If the bones cannot breathe, this is not going to be able to move very easily through the body. Okay, so what we're doing is we are gathering the pressure in the body where we feel it, and then we create this tension, a gentle tension, it's not heavy, a gentle tension, and invite deeper breath. And as we invite that deeper breath, that we don't have to go into the experience exactly of what happened, but sometimes you will hear the story come through. And if the belief is supercharged, say, I don't believe I can take the next step into my business. If it's 0 to 100 and you're 100 in that, you're going to be frozen in that energy. And so we pick that up, we breathe the depth, all right? And there is a simple process that opens that energy and clears that belief system. And through the quantum, we are shifting the super consciousness, all right? We are rewiring back to the original state of being, back to the golden child, back to the divine golden thread. This is the golden crystalline body at its highest. Now, when we do this, it can feel like you go, oh my goodness, I'm having the biggest breath ever. I actually had someone recently say that this feels like a chiropractor and somatics and Reiki all had a baby in one. And I was like, yes, that is exactly what happens. We are working with energy, we are working with deep matter, but we are also working with consciousness. And as that belief unravels, you may find that there are tears, you may find you're yawning, you may find you sneeze or burp, whatever wants to come up. There has been a pressure change. In this short video, I just wanted to offer you a 3-step clearing, okay? I'm not going to go into the details of how it works. And at the same time, because of quantum entanglement, we know that this is in a quantum container. And so whenever you receive this, it is going to work within the intention of it working. So if you believe that it will work, it definitely works, because quantum entanglement would say, right? The moment you observe something, you shift the dynamics of it, and it shifts the version of it on the other side of the planet or the body or whatever is happening. So first off, if you desire to stay for this 3-step release process, I invite you to say to your body, can I please have permission to feel this, to experience this, to bring myself back home? Because Kanika is all about the journey home to the original source of you, the primordial goo of you. And the other piece is that it's really important that you take space after this. Okay, so even if it's 5 minutes and you put water on your wrists, land your feet on the ground, have something to eat. It's really important that you do this, because the pressure in your body has now changed. The way that your DNA is working is now changed, and it will be replicating from a different way, like a different original source blueprint. This process that I'm going to do has been guided for those who are jumping onto this at the moment, and it's about the 3 diaphragms. Now, breath is our absolute barometer of whether we are in a stress response or not. Trauma stagnates, okay? Trauma stops us from taking the next step. Trauma pulls us back into constriction and addiction. And so as we release this energy, what will happen is there's a new invention of self. And sometimes there can be a gap in our awareness. And I invite you to be in that gap, to be in the void of just feeling the silence of the universe, right? Just honoring what has changed, what is different, how has my life shifted, okay? And this will regulate your nervous system to be able to incorporate the attunement that we're about to do. But the breath itself will be that barometer. So if you are shallow breathing, this is a sure sign that there is something your body is afraid to step in and do. And if we can clear it from a bone breath belief level, what we're doing is making it easier for you to take that next step, because the energy is flowing. The lymphatic waste is clearing those old stories, and it's moving it out of the body. So this particular sequence is the diaphragm of the brain. We're going to clear the diaphragm of the brain to allow for the left and right brain hemisphere to find more union, and this naturally opens up the phrenic nerve and the vagal nerve that runs through the clavicle, behind the clavicle, and this will allow for more lymphatic drainage, right? It's a very powerful shift. The second diaphragm is the diaphragm we're all used to, which is of the lungs, And so the third diaphragm is that of the yoni, the womb space or the pelvic bowl. Now, opening these three means that we're actually opening up the whole entire spinal cord. Okay, so we are we are literally creating a spinal alignment by just naturally allowing the breath to move more deeply through the bones. And that will then allow the nervous system to self-regulate to a higher expanded capacity. So you can hold more, or you can process more easily or efficiently. Okay. The other piece I wanted to bring in is that the bone is the very first cells that are created after conception. And so everything from the bone up is monitored and foundationally looked after by the bone structure. And we've forgotten this. The bone itself is the masculine, the bone marrow is the feminine, and the birth of red blood cells and stem cells is the divine child. So this is where we're coming back into the core foundation, and we're actually clearing old stories from the very get-go. With this, please drink a lot of water. And like I said, make sure that you do take some space for yourself, because it is creating an alignment in your body, and that will mean that whatever cannot fit in that misalignment needs to be cleared out of the body. So please allow for between 3 to 7 days for integration of this. All right, so all I need from you is your permission. And I'm going to ask you to place your hands on your body in particular sequence, and then I will slowly take you through the breath sequence that moves through this. Now, the usual diaphragm belief system is that I can't do it, okay? I can't do it, I won't do it, rather than I will and I can, but from a place of empowered, not because I have to, but because I choose to, okay? So I'll get you to hold the space on either side of your eyes, and with your middle finger, the back of your head, okay? And as you do this, I invite you to take a deep breath in, hold, sip it in, hold, let that breath move your body. There might be a stretch that desires to happen. Now let go. Okay, you might not want to let go of your bones yet, that's okay. And sometimes there's a big stretch that desires to come in. That's it. There we go, my spine. And then there's often a yawn at this point. So I wait until I have that yawn, because I'm very aware that there's a yawn that's coming up often. Oh, there we go. There we go. So the shift for me in that moment, what I noticed was that I could finally see, or not finally, but I could see a new level of light coming in. Okay. So it's like I could see more color. And now that I've done that, I can feel a flood of blood actually coming into my chest and moving around my body with more awareness, like there's more heat in that space. So it's moving around that mid-back. All right, next one. So bringing one hand to your sternum and one hand to the middle of your back. Okay, right, there we go. Putting a reasonable amount of pressure in there until your body, that's it, taking a deep breath in. Sip it in, hold, let go when you're ready. That's it. You may find that there's some sound that wants to come through. That is often that the lungs have got some space that they actually want to create, humming. A lot of grief sits in the lungs, but the diaphragm itself massages all the organs. So there could be bloating here, there could be adrenal dysfunction, there could be not processing, immunity, so spleen issues. The thyroid is specifically connected to the spleen as well. So knowing that as you open this space, you're probably going to have either some kind of dumping, like you might notice that your body just clears a lot of stuff out of your bowel motions or out of your urine, noticing that you might feel dehydration in your mouth because as you clear it, the new is coming in, okay? And we're going to go for number 3. Okay, so the diaphragm of the pelvic bowl, which holds a lot of sexual trauma, but also a lot of safety. So if your safety has been profoundly impacted, which I'm not sure whose hasn't in the last 3 years especially, but as children, very much so. So this will open up a version of yourself that maybe you haven't seen before or felt before. So just really honoring any emotional patterns that you notice coming up. And please do not judge them, just give them curiosity, because this is quite a big shift. Because we're doing it in the Trinity as well, you may notice that there's quite a new alignment, especially if Pluto is playing around like it is at the moment. Okay, so number 3. Just setting number 2, that's it. There we go. Okay, number 3 is I invite you to place your hand on your pubic bone and one on your sacrum. So we're not going to go to tailbone, but sacrum is right where the butt comes down. Okay, and taking a deep breath when you're ready. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Sip it in. And let that breath penetrate where it's heavy in your body. You might want to move. You might want to shake. And let go. Kanika, kanika, kanika. Ka is the body, right? Kanika. And so kanika is the seed of the golden atom. We are returning you back to your original source. We're not putting anything in. This is just you remembering the truth of who you are. This is your journey home. And so when you're ready, just slowly letting that go. If there are tears, let them come. If there is rage, let it come. That's at the chest. My heart space is really opening up even more so than the lung diaphragm. There we go. The womb space, the yoni, is very deeply connected to the voice. Okay, so if you're noticing that you do desire to bring through any humming, any sound, any rage or fire's breath, lion's breath, totally part of the process. All right, so like I said, self-care is really, really important. Kanika is a very powerful modality that works in the breath, the beliefs, and the bones. So we're getting to the core foundation and knowing that even if you didn't feel something in that moment, your body is deeply unlocking 3 key trauma holding spaces. Okay, so give it 3 to 7 days. And please, I would love to know, have any feedback if this has opened up anything for you, but also anything that is crumbling in your life will be an invitation. So if there's a shift in your mindset, if there's a shift in how you feel, this is going to be the reflection for you of what's shifted. And just noticing what's different. Maybe you're walking different. Maybe you are standing with your shoulders back a little bit more. Maybe you notice that your sleep has changed or your messages in your sleep have changed. Either way, we have definitely supported the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the heart, thymus space, all of the organs, and now deep into the yoni, into that hip flexor energy. And so there's going to be a reasonable amount. Please let me know. Of course, we would love you to follow KANIKA. We do have KANIKA training in mid-March of 2024 for level 1 100-hour practitioner, where you get to go on a journey for yourself for 9 months and actually really deepen into this process and this beautiful practice, but also the energy of journeying yourself home. So we give you so many embodiment somatic tools to look after yourself in the process of really recognizing your trauma while also learning a modality that you can work on with others. It's a very powerful modality, and we also have a retreat in July that allows us to get hands-on in this version of ourselves. But like you've seen, it can also be in a quantum realm as well, which we do on Zoom. There are many practitioners. We now have 22 qualified practitioners around the world. So if you would like anyone to be working on you, please let us know. I can send you those practitioner names and enjoy. So much love. Kia kaha. Bye.